maintaining a deep breath, good breath volume, and increasing our breath volume is a critical step in our wellness journey. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. Today we're going to talk about things that structurally that are related to the mechanics of breathing that we can influence to get a deeper breath and more awareness of our breath. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the actual postural impacts and things that we can do and influence from a posture perspective, including what we do to get up and sit down. But right now, as a precursor to that, we need to understand a little bit more about the breathing or mechanics or structure of breathing. So we've been doing our breathing, and we know our inhale in the chest, and we drop down in the diaphragm. So I want to extend an awareness past that. This again comes from the aston-patterning paradigm developed by Judith Aston. And what we're going to look at again is these. We've got our inhale exhale. So when we inhale, the rib cage lifts up, right? And then when we inhale, also the diaphragm contracts and pulls down. So right here, and so that gives us our volume. And then of course on the exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and ends up coming up and pushes air out. But then we can also push air out by additional contraction of the rib cage. So definitely the openness and our ability to control our rib cage is going to influence our breath volume. So, but I want to show you, and this is why I'm giving you a side view. I might back up just a little bit. So as I sit down here, and you see my position of my pelvis and the placement of my chest, as I go into an exhale, you can see that it would match me going into a flexion, okay? So a slump, I'm in a flexion pattern. If I inhale, you can see that it matches my going into extension, or what's called extension. So we can actually use this as a way to connect the rest of the body mechanically with our breathing and match the body shape to the breath pattern. So it looks like this. If as I go into an exhale, my pelvis would tip back. I don't know if you can see this, my pelvis rolling forward or backward, right? Most people will sit at their desk like this, right, with their pelvis rolled back into this little hole, and we sit here or you kind of see people tippy-tapping with their phone sitting like this, okay? So do you think that I'm going to have good volume and good support sitting like this? No, obviously not. So the ability to be able to sit with our pelvis more forward. What I often say is scooch the hiney back. So to get up off the chair, scooch the hiney back and sit. So that kind of puts me in this place. I also want my pelvis slightly higher than my knees. I know a lot of times you'll see ergonomic models for good posture. I'm trying to find the lever here, where the pelvis, the legs would be parallel to the ground. And I don't know if you can tell it from this video, but if I do that parallel to the ground, the tendency is for my pelvis to go back and fall off, right? As I come up in height, you can see that it puts, hopefully you can see this, that it puts my pelvis in a slightly more open position, and that actually supports my breath. Okay, so I really want, if I'm going to sit, I really want to have my pelvis slightly higher than my knees and positioned slightly forward. Now, most people really are tilted back like this. Okay, that's most people. Some people already have a strong lumbar curve, and their pelvis is already rolled way forward, and there's a very short low back area here. So obviously this person who has that position wouldn't want to accentuate this position of having the pelvis more forward. And in fact, for them, it might actually help them to relax the pelvis back. But like I said, most people are in a situation where they're in a slumpy position where the pelvis is way back here, way down, and then my chest is not getting good support. Okay, so as I have my pelvis in the right position, now as I inhale with the diaphragm coming down, chest coming up, I can match that inhale by allowing my body, my spine, to go into extension. Okay, so it would be here, and then here. So I can accentuate the movement of the spine and get the flexion extension happening with the breath. I'll go through that again. So this would roll back and exhale here, and then as the pelvis rolls forward, you can see that starts to increase the length here. So pelvis rolls forward, inhale. Okay, and you can see that the way I'm doing my arms, as I go into extension, my arms going out is going to be an opening of the chest, and the arms coming in would be a closing of the chest. So the arm movements, if I match them, would be also a part of in kind of an extension of the breath. So again, as this rolls back and the arms roll in, flexion, exhale. Inhale, extension. Okay, so what this does is it includes the spine as a natural component of breath, and the spine definitely is literally connected. The diaphragm has attachments to the lumbar spine. On the front part of the lumbar spine, the diaphragm is attached to that. So as the diaphragm contracts, it does actually create this pull that pulls the spine into a slight extension. Okay, so we're just learning again to pay more attention to the body, and to maybe start to utilize this, or at least be aware of it, that I could benefit. Now, how does this benefit me? One, I get a more continuous integrated breath, but now I also have a tool for starting to pay attention to my spine. In other words, as I exhale and I come down, if my spine is restricted and it won't come into flexion, then I can actually start to feel that, and it starts to pull, and I can get a stretch into parts of my spine. So I'm starting to actually doing what? I'm massaging and stretching and opening my spine with breath. And this is all mechanical. I'm not engaging my conscious component of that. And this is what in the system of aston-patterning is called arcing. So again, the pelvis would roll back, chest would fall, exhale, inhale. And that gives me a little reset, a little flexion extension reset for my spine, and gets my spine integrated with my breathing and my shoulders, and opens all this up. So it's another way to know one more skill connection to get better at breathing, to experience parts of the body that I may not aware of, and that connection between the mechanics of breathing here and the whole rest of the body. The body is always one big continuous flowing whole, or what I call one big rubber band, is kind of how I talk about it for massage. When you pull on one thing, it pulls on something over here. So if we're talking about trying to get a deep breath and I'm restricted in the pelvis, if I've had a C-section or gallbladder surgery or appendix surgery or something that has restricted, or one of those bladder suspension surgeries, or even tummy tucks, when things are contracting and holding the lower abdomen in this position, then if I literally cannot, if I'm stuck in this position, then how am I going to get a deep breath if I'm stuck in here, right? And so these are things to consider. If you have had some of these surgeries that will place you here, it's probably a good idea to get some body work to get scar tissue worked out, so that you have full extension and your breath can be supported with your body movements. So these are some things. Again, we're not going to solve all your breathing and breath problems today, but as we increase our awareness, we can start knowing what to work on and what to do next. Okay, so you start running into these things and you think, oh, this might be something that would help. Okay, I think that's all I have for this basic mechanics of breathing in preparation for tomorrow, which is what kind of postural things, how do I think about this to support breathing in our everyday movements? And I'm going to talk about, again, the position of the pelvis and some of the muscles that are involved in posture, right? And where do I go? If I go and get up, we'll talk about this tomorrow, how to get up in such a way that when I stand, I'm actually maintaining my breath volume. And then we'll talk for women about bras, okay? So bras are going to have can potentially have a direct impact on our breath volume, okay? So this is a beginning awareness of a more sophisticated element of breath mechanics. I hope this has been useful. Please practice this, play with this a little bit. And if you have a chance to see an aston-patterning practitioner near you, that would be fabulous, and get more body work and training and movement training from that perspective. An awesome paradigm. Okay, happy wellness.